Rules around transgender athletes are still to be set in stone for every major athletic sport around the globe. It's hard to find the right balance that fits everyone's situation and their needs. Cycling is the latest sport to add some changes to the rules based around transgender athletes. So, stay tuned to today's video to learn about how cycling's governing body has set stricter rules for transgender athletes. First up, what are these new rules to be set? More than any other part of the world, transgender athletes face the most troubles and struggle with eligibility. Some sports have different rules to others, so it's hard to figure out what can and cannot fly with each one. Recently, cycling has been the major sport to add some new rules towards transgender people. Before these new rules, riders were required to have a testosterone level below 5 nanomoles per liter for a 12-month period before competition. Now, under these new rulings, which are being introduced soon by the Union Cycliste Internationale, the level is now 2.5 nanomoles per liter for a 24-month period. The previous ruling was actually under review as it was brought to the attention of one of the biggest transgender cyclists, Emily Bridges. A UCI statement read, "The latest scientific publications clearly demonstrate that the return of markers of endurance capacity to female level occurs within 6 to 8 months under low blood testosterone, while the awaited adaptations in muscle mass and muscle strength and power take much longer, 2 years minimum, according to a recent study. Given the important role played by muscle strength and power in cycling performance, the UCI has decided to increase the transition period on low testosterone from 12 to 24 months. Bridges started hormone therapy just a year ago now and was blocked from competing at nationals by the UCI during threats of a boycott from the other riders. They had met the legal requirements for competing, but the UCI just wouldn't let them compete because of everything going on. They didn't even grant a switch to her license. The UCI said Bridges' participation could only be allowed once her eligibility to race in an international competition was confirmed. During the subsequent debate, British Cycling suspended its transgender policy pending a review. Bridges has insisted it is wrong to believe that she would have any advantage over her rivals. She will now be unable to compete in women's races until 2023. I understand how you'd come to this conclusion because a lot of people still view trans women as men with male anatomies and physiologies, she said in an interview with Diva magazine. But hormone replacement therapy has such a massive effect. The aerobic performance difference is gone after about 4 months. The fact that trans athletes are still seen as having an advantage over others is just insane. They really do not have any advantage as they are the same as all the other athletes in the field. It all comes down to training and genetics, not what gender they used to be. Well, what do you think about all of this? Let us know in the comments section below. Also, tell us how you feel about the new transgender rules coming into athletics. And now, stay tuned for some more athletics news from the last few weeks. Next, what's going on with athletics and the transgender community? Many transgender athletes have struggled with getting into sporting events for years now. It's a tough topic to deal with as nothing concrete has been set around the world just yet. Companies are still figuring out what to do with those who are gender neutral or other genders altogether. One large company named FINA has decided on a new rule regarding transgender people and gender-neutral people in sports. Their idea is that if someone has decided on their gender by the age of 12, they could possibly start to compete in the gendered sport of their choice. There are many things wrong with this choice, and many transgendered people on the internet have come out to speak on it. First of all, if they're deciding this all on age and puberty, then it's in agreement that children need to be educated on gender. Currently, it's not in education that children are taught that they can choose their gender and that it can be fluid. This needs to be in effect if they want transgender people to support this rule and abide by it. Another thing is that sports should just be able to include gender neutral or transgender people as they please, as long as they fit the physical build of the other athletes. A transgender woman is still a woman, therefore they can compete in a woman's competition, as long as they are physically a woman and abide by the rules all women in that sport abide by. This would stop the stupid argument of transgender women being too much like men to compete fairly in women's competitions. Children need to be made aware that they have options in gender and that they can delay puberty in order to understand and choose who they want to be. If they really want this new policy and rule to stick, then they need to understand that education is a key key step in all of this. Without this education, this rule becomes about bigotry and transphobia. This is a tough topic to talk about, but we would love to hear your calculated thoughts on it all. Let us know down in the comment section below if you believe in what we have said today and understand about the education changes that need to be made in order for this policy to be accepted and applied. Lastly, Tiger Woods is finally a billionaire. Despite all the controversy throughout the long career of Tiger Woods, he is a phenomenal athlete and one deserving of all the fame. From starting off as one of the most promising young golfers in the world to being easily the best and most influential player of all time, Tiger Woods has done it all and has finally just recently entered the leagues of the billionaire athletes. Forbes has just estimated that Tiger Woods' net worth is about $1 billion at least, which makes him one of only 3 billionaire athletes in the world. There are so many rich athletes out there, Floyd Mayweather, Mike Tyson, etc., but only 3 have become billionaires. Tiger Woods has joined the ranks alongside Michael Jordan and LeBron James as billionaire athletes. It's crazy how an athlete can become a billionaire, but 3 have done it so far. LeBron James reached the rank whilst still being an active NBA player, but Jordan actually reached the mark years after his retirement. This was mainly due to sponsorships and how large of a name Michael Jordan really became. Now, despite what Woods has done in the past, he has finally reached this milestone, and we're sure his fans couldn't be happier. The craziest thing about all of this is how exactly he got to this point. It was reported by Forbes that less than 10% of Woods' income comes from the sport of golf itself. The rest comes from sponsorships with Nike, Monster Energy, and Gatorade. He proudly promotes these brands, and they are the reason why he stands today as a billionaire athlete. We don't really have any idea what might be next for Woods, as he hasn't spoken about it much. We know that he recently came back to the sport after a long injury recovery process, but his goals aren't clear right now. It's obvious he doesn't need the money, so he must have some idea of what he wants to do over the next few years in his career. If he can just stay out of controversy for another few years, then maybe he can grow his career even more and become an even bigger name than he is right now. Tiger Woods really showed the world that anyone could play golf. The sport was dominated by older men who had seen better days. He went into the sport at age 20 after just completing 2 years at Stanford University. He was one of the youngest players of all time and got a full scholarship in 1994. At the time, no one could believe that such a young man was interested, let alone good at golf. He competed throughout his younger days and turned professional young as well. Some didn't support his decision to leave school early, but Tiger quickly proved everyone wrong and showed how the decision was more than successful for his career and life moving forward. Woods inspired many young golfers to head in the same direction as him and created the next generation of golfers that are playing right now. There was no one like him out there in the world, and it showed. He put his all into golf and became a legend doing so. He became better and better, proving those who doubted him wrong. Well, what do you think about all of this? Tiger Woods has finally become a billionaire, and it's amazing to see. He definitely deserves what he has gotten, as his career has been long and hard fought. Woods is an inspiration to many and will continue to be for young golf players and businessmen alike. And that is the end of today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed this latest video. If you did, would you please let us know down in the comments section below? It would be very helpful. Make sure to like the video, comment down below, and of course subscribe to the channel with the notification bell rung. Thank you for watching today's video. Bye!